Welcome to Hello from the Station of Light, Keepers of Light. And I call you that because you are just that, Keepers of Light. So, in order for me to become a participant within the Station of Light, I'm seeing that I'm needing to let go responsibility for the Station of Light. Even though it has felt like my responsibility, it has felt like my responsibility, my life has felt like a responsibility towards something or other. And the station now beckons for all of us to begin to share within responsibility, which is to say, our ability to respond as we are coexisting with one another, to expand our perception of what responsibility means and what responsibility equals, and to reconfigure the ways in which we're moving within the human system in those ways that are natural, where the natural flow and natural flow to the tapestry of our existence is, where it resides. We have been taking responsibility and taking weight and carrying weight that hasn't and isn't ours to carry. Even the weight of of assuming that we are the ones who are determining how situations unfold. There's a certain level of letting go, trying to control what my relationship is relative to the station of light where I am at right now. Now that I have provided the reels with as best summation of the functions to that I have named within the station of light, now that I have released those, I'm also seeing that there is, in conjunction to that, my having to release my, to release what? To release having, to release feeling as though I have to carry those functions, to explain, to make sense of, to interpret the station any more than it already than how it already exists. I am being called to trust that the station is functioning as the living architecture that it is. Not because I'm having to do anything, and I think that's what's kind of different, which is what I'm kind of trying to I think I'm struggling a little bit here in terms of, coming up with words that explain what I'm seeing. But it does have to deal with efforting, and how now there is a release to efforting. There's a release to assuming that there are aspects to the same architecture that I mapped with the assumption, with this very same assumption that there was something missing, I'm now having to release that part of myself that believes, that part of perception that would interpret reality as missing anything and missing my effort, missing striving. And I can see how releasing this part, letting it go, letting go the sense of having to carry the station as though just because I see it, it's almost like just because I see the sky doesn't mean doesn't mean I'm carrying the sky. That releasing it then allows for it to function in that way that I had intended for it to function, which was when I created it, when I mapped it, it was to come up with a sane interpretation of how I could move from one coordinate within my reality to the next coordinate within my reality without feeling as though I am pushing against that movement, without feeling as though I am making that movement happen. So there's kind of no point for me to be posting what I'm posting right now. It feels pointless because my mind's telling me that what's the point? Like, what's the point? What's the point in coming on here to talk about how you're letting go of the station when really look around you and it seems as though most of what has been constructed upon the foundation of purpose being in mind. But now it's like saying there is no purpose. But if there is no purpose, then what is it that we do, keepers of light? If we're looking at life and we're saying that there is really kind of no purpose to it, really, not because there is no purpose, but that because there's so many different ways of interpreting reality, then the only way that purpose exists is does it fulfill our heart's desire? Can we choose to fulfill our heart's desire in terms of how it is allowing the human vessel to move within the actual reality that the map, that the station of light is mapping as a coherent way to being able to coexist with one another, without assuming as though we all have to be the same or that we all have to follow the same steps that we had previously memorized or have been passed on to us as a map, as the map that we should follow. What do we do when we're no longer engaging with the mind in what the mind is interpreting reality to be? How do we begin to meet reality where it's at when the mind isn't engaged in that interpretive role? And that's really what I'm letting go of, is this interpretive role that I've been functioning at. And in many ways, I don't know what that looks like when it pertains to my relationship with the Station of Light, other than that I can say that I am seeing myself more and more excited to being within the presence of meeting life at that level where I'm meeting it before I'm interpreting it. And because of that, maybe I'll have more to report on. Maybe I'll come into contact with exactly how to show up here. Because it'll be the me that's showing up that is before the role of architect that I had assigned myself as primarily being. So yeah, I'm reorienting. The Station of Light is helping me to reorient my perception about it relative not just the Station of Light, because the station is not intended to be where we're actually meeting. The station is just a model that represents your ability to tune in with awareness that you are always stationed relative to your reality, however it's appearing, however it's showing up in your life, how you're stationed to it does now have, and you do now have an opportunity to meet that reality from having let go the sense of responsibility that you have towards it being what it is. So yeah, I'll be back. I'm not disappearing or anything. I'm just here kind of soaking up being within this space, and there are kind of no rules about for me to be in here. I mean, I'm kind of making it up as I move along, and and if you yourself aren't making up your movements and deciding what those movements are beforehand, then I'm hoping that you can say that the movements that you're in alignment to, and that because you're in alignment to them, that it is now being experienced as an experience of joy. I've been tearing up. I'm crying. Oh gosh, I'm crying because it's a moment of grief. At the same time, it's a moment of birth and a moment of death. It kind of feels like I'm letting go, and that I'm stepping into something that is very uncertain, but at the same time not intimidating, not frightful either. It is curiosity that's leading me towards my next moment. Curiosity in terms of, what's going to show up, who's going to show up. And there's movement, and the signals that I'm getting from the station shows me that there is movement, that the station itself is working. I don't know how to put this. It's like it's like I guess if you get something that you are not quite sure how it's going to work, and you let it loose. You let it loose, and then you see what happens. So that's where I'm at, and that's what I wanted to report from my position here within the Station of Light. Is that I'm looking forward to seeing what's next, and yes, I will continue to express, and I will continue to show up in this way that is aligning to what my actual experience is relative to the station. Until next time, Keepers of Light.